Johor SEZ is timely and significant. You know why? Because of few factors. One is about ASEAN as the economic powerhouse, and all the numbers that research done by many of these reputable organizations, research houses, showing that ASEAN is the next growth area, right? You looked at the numbers of ASEAN population, it will be about 690 to 700 million people by 2030. Yeah, investment is about 170 billion annually, and it's steady. And you looked at all the companies, foreign companies that have been establishing in ASEAN. I think those that have regional headquarters here is about more than 5,000. We're talking about ASEAN as a whole, right? And 80% of these Fortune 500 companies are having their affiliation in ASEAN. So if you looked at the ASEAN as a market, is very promising. 70%. Some study shows that 70% of the population will be in the middle income class. So this is a natural choice for, this area is a natural choice for investors to consider doing business in JSSEZ, right? Because then you have all the market access in ASEAN. So the other thing is that this JSSEZ is not a new area. It has been there, with all the connectivities, for example. Of course, we need to improve those connectivity angle where Singapore and Malaysia work very hard to ensure that movement of people, movement of goods, will be seamless. I think it's at the end of the discussion for us to have this movement of people and goods, talking about QR code clearance, for example, without having to produce your passports and so on so forth. And customs from both sides are actually been discussing to ensure that movement of goods seamless as well. And this Johor-Singapore SEZ area is targeting this high value, high growth sector, because I think these areas are different from the other areas in the region, for example. And we see that Johor SEZ is a place where you can attract more high value and high growth sectors. For example, last year we have approved about 700 over projects, and most of them are in manufacturing. And out of those in Johor, out of those 700 over projects, about 550 or 560 projects are actually located in Johor SEZ. It shows the attraction of Johor SEZ now to what they call host these high value, high growth sectors. So what we want is to move up the value chain within the existing industry cluster, and also to create new cluster for Johor SEZ. We have got good medical devices companies, semiconductor companies in this area. So we think that we can pull through some of these high value and high growth projects, in this region moving on. And I think last year alone, I think we have achieved about 50 over project in high value and high growth sectors. Of course, the other portion is the strong institutional policy and institutional support for this area. Yeah, the incentives are tailor-made, to attract these high value and high growth sectors into the country. Into Johor, what we call Singapore SEZ. And of course, the facilitation part is equally important, where once it got approved, we want to ensure that all these projects are implemented. And the implementation rate in 2023, for example, we have achieved in Johor SEZ, have achieved more than 80%. So to us, is very high, right? As far as implementation rate of these projects. And you are also aware that we have just established, and in fact, you just launched this IMFCJ. The idea is for this office, with the presence of MIDA, IRDA, Invest Johor, and few other agencies that are very important, to ensure that all these projects, be it for them to come for approvals, for permits, and on daily operations that they are having issues and whatnot, can be what we call resolved amicably. So these are actually facilitation that will drive more investment into Johor SEZ. So I stop at this point first, then later maybe Q&A, or you can continue with the rest. Thank you.
Thank you.